It's the summer of 2023, and 5 passengers aboard the Titan Submersible are 90 minutes into a 2.5-hour descent to the wreck of the Titanic, 12,500 feet beneath the Atlantic. At its present depth of 2 miles, the craft is subject to a staggering 4,700 pounds of water pressure on every square inch of its hull. Stockton Rush, the Titan's builder and pilot, dismisses the unsettling creaks echoing through the vessel, reassuring his passengers they have nothing to fear. But he's wrong. Repeated dives to extreme depths have compromised the sub's integrity. Moments later, the Titan catastrophically implodes. Seawater rushes in at 1,500 miles per hour. The pressure ignites the air in the sub, incinerating everyone on board while simultaneously crushing their bodies. No one survives. The victims' friends and families are devastated and left wondering what went wrong. How did such a tragedy happen? Was the carbon fiber hull a fatal design flaw? And why was an unproven vessel allowed to carry civilians to one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth?
The desperate search continues.
There are maritime surveillance aircraft searching the ocean floor.
It's terrifying for people who know them as the time ticks by.
Coast Guard confirms all 5 passengers were killed.
Our team is working continuously to uncover the facts surrounding this incident.
Completed in 2018, the Titan Submersible, originally named Cyclops II, measures 22 feet in length and weighs 21,000 pounds. It's powered by 4 electric thrusters that propel it underwater at a meandering speed of 3 knots and carries enough oxygen to keep 5 passengers alive for up to 96 hours. The pressure vessel that houses the crew and the sub's control systems is compact, measuring only 9 feet in length, with a 5-foot interior diameter. Its 5 main structural components include a center cylinder with 5-inch thick carbon fiber walls, 2 titanium interface rings that are bonded to the carbon fiber hull, and 2 3/4-inch thick hemispherical titanium end caps that are bolted to the rings. Fitted into the forward end cap is a 15-inch diameter acrylic window for observation. This viewpoint is only rated to a depth of 4,265 feet, but as with everything else related to his sub, Stockton Rush is convinced his design can do better. In 2013, OceanGate began collaborating with the University of Washington's Applied Physics Laboratory to build its titanium and carbon fiber hull. This radical design choice immediately drew backlash from industry experts, including Liz Taylor, the highly respected president of Deep Ocean Exploration and Research, Dewar Marine. In 2015, Rush visited Dewar to consult with Taylor on the lessons she'd learned from decades of designing, building, and testing remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, and manned submersibles. When Rush told Taylor that he was building a crewed sub using titanium and carbon fiber, her reply was immediate and unambiguous.
We all told him, someone is going to be killed in this thing, and you've got to not do it. Being hollow on the inside, or just, 1 atmosphere on the inside, and having the tremendous pressure of the ocean, trying to push in on it, it just doesn't, it's not the right material.
I just looked at the execution of some of the stuff, the bolt that screws them into the hull, the fact that it didn't have lift points. It just didn't seem to me that it had been particularly well thought out or executed. It just looked amateurish in its execution.
Liz Taylor and Patrick Leahy weren't the only industry experts sounding the alarm about Titan. In 2018, OceanGate's Director of Marine Operations, David Lockridge, raised serious safety concerns about the submersible, particularly the lack of non-destructive testing on the vessel's hull and other critical components. Like everyone concerned with Titan's design, Lockridge wanted the sub classed by Det Norsk Veritas, DNV, a Norwegian certification society that has been rating and certifying seafaring vessels since 1864. Publicly, Rush claimed Titan would meet or exceed DNV certification standards, but privately, he had no intention of submitting the sub for classification. Instead, Lockridge was tasked with conducting an internal quality inspection of the vessel.
Everything I'd raised in the report, they had an excuse, they had an answer, and not one of them gave me any confidence, not one of them.
When Lockridge submitted a report outlining critical safety issues with Titan, he was locked out of the company and had his laptop scrubbed before eventually being fired. Despite the experts' warnings and the ominous wording of the extensive death waiver each passenger was required to sign prior to the descent, Paul-Henri Nargelet, Hamish Harding, and the Dawwoods all boarded Titan on that fateful morning of June 18, 2023. Because OceanGate's surface team aboard the Polar Prince waited 8 hours before reporting Titan missing, rescue operations didn't begin until the morning of June 19th, even though a request for assistance by the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center in Boston was placed on the evening of the 18th. The following day, rescue operations were launched, led by the United States Coast Guard under the direction of Rear Admiral John Mauger. While American and Canadian Coast Guard vessels raced to the area where Titan last made contact, 3 C-130 Hercules, a Lockheed CP-140, and a P-8 Poseidon anti-submarine warfare aircraft began a surface search from the air. In addition to the military assets scanning the surface and ocean's depths for Titan, a small armada of commercial ships, including the Canadian vessel Arctic Horizon, joined the search. Adverse weather conditions hampered the rescue operations, as did the fact that Titan was equipped with neither a distress beacon nor emergency flotation devices to return it to the surface in the event of trouble. As a result, the search for the lost submersible dragged on for 4 long days with no results, despite the extensive resources being brought to bear on the situation. Then, at 1:18 p.m. on June 22nd, the Odysseus 6K ROV, owned by Pelagic Research Services, discovered a debris field on the ocean floor near the wreck of the Titanic. The ocean pressure at a depth of 12,500 feet is approximately 380 atmospheres, or 5,600 pounds per square inch. This is roughly 455 times the atmospheric pressure at sea level, meaning every square inch of Titan's hull had nearly 3 tons pressing on it as it neared the ocean floor. That's the equivalent to the weight of more than 21,800 elephants squeezing in on the carbon fiber pressure hull. When Titan imploded, this extreme pressure would have killed all 5 occupants in approximately 2 1,000ths of a second. That's roughly 75 times faster than the time it would have taken for anyone on board to recognize that something had gone wrong. Yet, there is some debate as to exactly how Rush and his clients would have perished. One theory is that the weight of the ocean at that depth simply crushed their bodies in a fraction of an instant. The other is that the uniform pressure compressed the air inside the sub, instantly heating it to roughly the temperature of the surface of the sun, which would have vaporized Rush and the others as they were being crushed. Either way, there is no chance anyone could have survived long enough to know they were about to die. But what caused the hull to fail in the first place? And could this tragedy have been avoided? Most experts familiar with the Titan implosion agree that a catastrophic failure of the carbon fiber hull occurred due to the extreme pressure at the depths where the Titanic wreck lies. What they haven't agreed on is whether the integrity of the sub failed due to design flaws, manufacturing defects, or material fatigue on the hull and acrylic window from repeated dives to depths below 10,000 feet. It's possible, even likely, that all 3 factors played a part. What no one disputes is that Stockton Rush's cavalier attitude toward safety was a major contributor to such a senseless loss of life. Tragically, Rush's reasoning failed to take into account that some rules, such as never building submersibles with carbon fiber and never making them cylindrical, exist for good reasons. In a 2019 interview with Smithsonian Magazine, the OceanGate founder is quoted as saying, "There hasn't been an injury in the commercial submersible industry in over 35 years. It's obscenely safe because they have all these regulations. but it also hasn't innovated or grown because they have all these regulations. In the same interview, Rush suggested that regulations needlessly prioritize passenger safety over commercial innovation. Pushing the envelope is one thing, but Stockton Rush seemed unwilling or unable to learn from his own experience. On July 7, 2016, Rush was at the University of Washington in Seattle to test a 1/3 scale model of what was then still being called Cyclops 2. The acoustic monitoring system Rush talks about in his presentation involves using listening devices to detect structural flaws in the submersible's pressure hull as it descends to increasing depths. While it's only fair to point out that Rush was using the pressure test to show that acoustic monitoring could detect flaws in the carbon fiber hull, he seemed to ignore the fact that the model suffered a catastrophic failure. Despite this neon red flag, OceanGate still chose to build Cyclops 2 around a carbon fiber cylinder hull instead of the tried-and-true steel or titanium spheres that every other submersible employed. When the sub was completed and began testing in 2018, industry experts warned Rush that listening for the structural integrity of the sub to fail was a dangerous way to determine whether or not his design was sound. In 2019, Carl Stanley, a friend of Rush, participated in a dive on Titan, during which he heard unsettling creaking noises coming from the hull at a depth of 12,000 feet. Stanley, who owns a tourist submarine company based in Honduras, wrote an email to Rush stating, "What we heard, in my opinion, sounded like a flaw or defect in one area being acted on by the tremendous pressure and being crushed and or damaged." Rush never replied to his friend. Regarding Titan's acrylic window, which we previously stated was only certified up to 4,265 feet, Rush had this to say.
That viewport is, there's some, according to the rules, it is not allowed. And so it is, but it's only off by like 15% of what would be allowed. It's a semi-solid, the plexiglass. It'll come into the cabin by about 3/4 of an inch on all the pressure that's there.
Oh, man, and that's a good thing?
Well, that's what it is.
As with Titan's experimental hull, Rush believed he would be able to hear the viewport cracking and resurface before that failure became catastrophic. In reality, he died without knowing how wrong he was, and his hubris cost 4 other adventurers their lives. Regardless of what the MBI's investigation eventually determines, the families of those who died with Stockton Rush will never be reunited with their loved ones.
At this time, I would like to ask that everyone present please stand for a moment of silence in respect to those persons who perished as a result of this casualty.
No less than 38 industry experts voiced safety concerns regarding OceanGate's approach to building Titan, but they all fell on deaf ears. Rush insisted his sub was safe and even boasted on the company's website that Titan was designed and engineered by OceanGate Incorporated in collaboration with experts from NASA, Boeing, and the University of Washington. All 3 organizations have disputed OceanGate's partnership claims. On June 18, 2024, OceanGate suspended its commercial and exploration operations and shut down its social media accounts. The company website now only displays a message announcing the suspension of operations. Investment banker Gordon Gardiner has been appointed as the new CEO to oversee the winding down of the company's activities and manage the ongoing investigations, which will almost assuredly lead to multiple lawsuits. Despite the liability waivers signed by the passengers, legal experts suggest that the families could still pursue lawsuits against OceanGate for gross negligence, as waivers are typically only binding against simple negligence. David Lockridge's previous lawsuit claiming gross negligence on the part of his former employer will surely play a role. Regardless of OceanGate's legal exposure, the incident has raised serious questions about the limited regulatory oversight of private deep-sea expeditions and the ethical implications of commercial ventures in extreme environments. Yet the regulatory frameworks governing deep-sea exploration remain murky and insufficient, especially in international waters where jurisdictional reach is limited. Perhaps that will change once the Coast Guard's MBI findings are released. Until then, the deep-sea exploration and tourism industry will have to rely on its collective experience and sound judgment to keep its workers and clients safe. Two things Stockton Rush placed too little value on.